All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at finding a quadratic regression. So this is going to feel a lot like finding linear regressions where we fit a line to a scatter plot. Here, our scatter plot is going to kind of form a quadratic or a parabola-shaped, U-shaped graph. So we will do a quadratic regression instead of a linear regression, where we come up with a quadratic equation to fit the data. The steps are going to be very similar. We're going to enter the data using stat and then edit. We will change the viewing window so that we can see our points. And then here's where it's going to be a little different. We'll calculate a parabola of best fit by hitting stat calc 5 instead of stat calc 4. And then remember, now we know how to store a regression equation using that alpha trace and then enter, 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 enter a bunch of times. We'll look to see if the curve actually fits our scatter plot, and then we can use that curve if it fits pretty well to make a prediction by hitting second trace and then entering a value. All right, so if you have the steps down, then let's go ahead and put down a data table. So again, we want to write our steps in our notes so we have something to refer back to, and then let's look at an example. If you need to pause the video and get caught up on your writing, do that now. All right, so let's take a look at some data. Well, you know what Phineas and Ferb always say, there's 104 days of summer vacation. And so let's take a look at how many ice cream cones are sold during summer vacation. So our data table, ice cream cones sold over summer vacay. So we're going to enter the number of day that we are on summer vacation, you know, someday between number 1 and 104, and then we'll enter the number of cones. So on day 1, 18 ice cream cones will be sold. On day 25, 60 cones. On day 75, 100 cones. On day 90, oh no, summer vacation is coming to an end. And then on day 104, only 8 cones are sold. And maybe that's because everybody's sick and tired of ice cream, or maybe it's because everybody's too busy going back to school, or maybe it's a really cool late summer day and nobody's in the mood for ice cream. Okay, so anyway, there's our data. Now let's go ahead and look at a quadratic model to represent the sale of ice cream cones over summer vacation. So I'm going to open up my calculator. I'm going to enter the data at stat 1. Remember to clear your data. If you highlight L2, clear enter will clear that column. Again, highlight L1 and clear enter to clear that data. All right, so we have data for day 1, day 25, day 75, day 90, and then the saddest day of the summer, day 104. All right, then in L2, we'll put the number of ice cream cones sold, 18, 60, 100, 56, and then 8. So second step then is to set our viewing window. So I'm going to come over to window, it's along the top there. I'm looking at day 1 to day 104, so I'm going to maybe extrapolate a little bit to 110. I could count by 5s maybe. It'd be pretty easy for me to count from 1 to 110 by 5s. So the minimum number of ice cream cones sold will be 0, and according to this data, it looks like the most that was sold was 100. I'm going to go a little higher, maybe 150, and then maybe mark by 5s or 10s or whatever you want. All right, I've entered the data, I've set my viewing window. When I look at the graph, I don't see anything. That's because I haven't turned my scatter plot on. Go to second y equals, choose number 1, enter over the on. There, you're just toggling on your scatter plot. And then there's my scatter plot. Yep, those points seem to kind of be making a parabolic shape, an upside down U. So let's calculate our quadratic regression now, or this will give us our parabola of best fit. So stat over to calc, but now we're going to choose number 5 because we want to do a quadratic regression. Hit enter, 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 stop at the store regression equation. here's where we hit alpha trace. This is really the F4 button. And then we hit enter a few times, ask it to calculate by hitting enter. There's your quadratic regression equation. Enter again, there we go. Enter, okay, whatever. I guess if I keep hitting enter, it just keeps popping up. I think it's time to see if it fits. Are you ready? On to step 4, does it fit the curve? Does our regression equation fit the curve? Hit graph. Oh, looks good, looks good. I don't think I could have done that any better by hand, so I'll take this calculator's word for it. Yes, my curve fits the points, so now I'm ready to use the curve to make a prediction. Second trace, I want to calculate a value. Let's see how many ice cream cones were sold on day 21. You know, they say it takes 3 weeks to create a habit. So have we got all of our summer habits all practiced up, and have they become like second nature on day 21? Yep. Okay, so on day 21, it looks like we'll sell about 67 ice cream cones based on this parabolic model. All right, that's all I have to say about that. If you need to go back and copy any of those steps down, rewind a little bit. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.